is the wall to those who fell in the Warsaw Uprising at the Warsaw Uprising Museum. Today, we meet a remarkable man, 10 when the Second World War broke out, 12 when he joined the underground, 13 when he was tortured by the Gestapo, 15 when he took part in the Warsaw Uprising itself. This is the remarkable story of Professor Julian Kulski. Join me on Poland Daily History as we look at this remarkable man's story and his remarkable life. So, Professor, what you're really saying, you're being very charitable, I think, to today's youth in the sense that we can't recreate the conditions of warfare, so it's hardly surprising that they are find ideas more frightening than you found bullets and hand grenades, probably. But also, while you've been in America, you've done a lot of work, I think, to better Polish-American relations and encourage this.
I have maintained contact with Poland since 1960. I was 15 when I left my parents. I was 30 when I came back for the first time to Warsaw and Soviet. It was under Russian occupation. It was horrible. And I didn't stay long. And I was working for the World Bank, so I had to get back to Washington. But what was your question?
No, I just think that you've done a lot of work to create good relations between America and the United States. Between Poland and the United States.
I was very busy. I tried to whatever I could. For example, I was interested in having Poland rejoin the World Bank at one time, but the Russians wouldn't allow it because I was hoping at least for economic independence, if the political. So I talked about it with Jaruzelski whenever I was traveling, crossing. I would always stop in Poland on the way on my international travel. And but I was very busy as an architect. I was a professor, I was a dean at 3 universities, I wrote books, and I was also a full-time member of the World Bank, traveling around the globe, building buildings. So I didn't have too much time to do, except for there were a couple of exceptions, do anything for Poland. But as soon as Poland became independent, I offered my services as an architect and city planner and came here 30 years ago for 3 months to do a regional plan of Pomorze. Okay. And all the hotels which were falling down, like the Grand Hotel in Sopot.
Yes.
And I found investors who were interested in Poland, but so I tried to do everything I could. Also, whenever I was staying here for a couple of weeks longer than usual, the Polish government asked me to make a movie by story for Polish television. It was during the Jaruzelski's reign. And I did that, although it was January and I didn't have winter clothes and it was freezing. But it was an excellent film, but then Jaruzelski a year later declared the war on Solidarity and destroyed the film.
It's a pity.
It was a waste of time. So I basically retired 30 years ago as an architect. I was able to devote all my efforts for Poland and for Polish-American relations. Poland and America I owe two particularly big gratitude. Poland for creating me whom I am and giving me the opportunity to fight for Poland. And America, as far as my profession, to become a world-known architect, which I would never have been able to do if I stayed in Poland. So I'm interested in maintaining contact between Poland and America, and I feel that we're not close enough. Britain and America are very close because of the language, of course, but I'm interested in so far, I feel America is not doing its part. Poland is doing more, sending soldiers to fight American wars, and I think the government is at fault for not telling the whole story and requiring America to do tit for tat.
Yes, but it must give you, and I'm sure it does, immense satisfaction that you can go back. You'd think your way back to the outbreak of the Warsaw Uprising, which you fought, and here we are, very many years later. Some would say far too many years later, but to be sitting again in a free and independent Poland. I mean, you must feel that the battle you fought, you actually, although you were defeated militarily after 63 days, in actual fact, the battle was won ultimately.
Well, I've always felt that my friends who shed blood and died during the uprising did not die in vain. And then I saw Solidarity movement, which carrying it on. And just as we were brought up, I was brought up on the tradition of the 19th century uprising, the Solidarity used that. And I think this is one of the few countries that really respects veterans to this degree.
Yes.
I mean, every year there's a big to-do in Warsaw. The traffic stopped on 5 o'clock on
That's
the 1st
right.
of September. And I wish this would happen more in Britain and in America. In America, in particular, American veterans that I speak to all the time are not appreciated the way that we, members of the uprising, are.
No, that's something we should ponder. You're right that veterans are.
So it's a wonderful opportunity at my age, and I'm 90 years old, to be recognized for what I did, not only in the uprising and during the occupation, but since there for Poland. But I'm a little frustrated because the governments don't listen to me.
No, well.
I'm being an American, I know what is required, but they send diplomats who are not experienced and they're lost in Washington. So both I and my wife try to help the ambassadors as much as possible, but it takes a big effort on the part of the government here. For example, Poland is the only country in Europe that doesn't have a lobbying firm, American firm.
Oh, right, okay.
Georgia has 6, Britain, France, and Germany have numbers, and Poland is the only country in Europe that refuses to hire an American firm.
That's interesting.
Public relations, and also lobbying. Lobbying is a bad.
But well, it has a bad connotation in this part of the world. But Professor, thank you very much for you're doing your bit. I can see that you're doing.
I can't do. I'm not a.
But
I
I'm
feel
sure.
like donkey
Yes, but I think for many years you've been doing more than many people. It's been an immense privilege to share your reminiscences here in this museum, which is a museum to you, in fact, and your comrades. So thank you very much for sharing this. It's been fascinating. We've been honoured to have you on the programme. And for those of you who would like to read this excellent book, The Colour of Courage by Professor Kalisz, it's a fantastic diary of his time, the time we've been talking about today, his as a young child fighting in the Warsaw Uprising, and I can recommend it. So please go and read it. Thank you.